Hey guys, welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to actually look at some tools, which is fun. There's a lot of great tool lists out there, whether it be you're just starting out, working on cars yourself, doing some basic maintenance, repair type work, or for more advanced people, there's also those lists out there too. The kind of tools you'll need when you start to specialize. This is neither of those. Well, in some ways it could be both, if we look at it like this. I'm going to take a look at 5 of the most criminally underappreciated tools you can have in your garage. Now, some of these are going to be pretty standard, but they just don't get the recognition I think they deserve, and some of them will be something that probably doesn't get any recognition. So I'm not looking for weird tools. These are actually tools I use often. That being said, let's go into these tools. We'll go through them in detail, and I'll kind of explain the applications that they're most commonly used for, and especially what I use them for. So just thought I'd share this information with you guys. It's always cool to give tools recognition that they deserve. They allow us to do the things we do in a more efficient manner than if we don't have them. So let's explore those tools. Come along for the ride, guys. All right, first up on our list of criminally underappreciated tools is a good old bottle of soapy water. Can't get more straightforward than this. Just having a suitable container full of regular dishwashing detergent mixed with a good amount of water allows you to do a lot of jobs that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, or that would be a lot harder to do otherwise. I know this seems super straightforward, guys, but trust me, this is a very important tool. It can be used for a myriad of things. Most commonly, I will use soapy water for any kind of tire leaks. If you have a puncture or you can't find the puncture, go ahead and spray the soapy water liberally all over the tire. If you see bubbles coming up, clear as day, you know where your leak is coming from. It's a fantastic tool. I used it when I plugged tires. It's a good way to do that, find the leak, and then not only that, and to use it after you find the leak and plug the tire, because you just don't want to assume the plug's working. I've installed plugs before and still had air leaking around them. So a little soapy water there, any air bubbles coming up, you know you need to redo that plug. This is a fantastic tool for that. Another application that I use quite often is boost leak testing. So if you have an older turbo vehicle, I might have had a few, you can use this, spray it around on all your common leak areas, or where you suspect leaks to be coming from. Once that system's pressurized and you have this soapy water on there, bubbles will just come out if there's a leak present. Now, the old method of finding a boost leak by listening is fine, but this is way more specific. It gets right down to the exact point, and you can tell how bad the leak is based on the amount of bubbles coming up. So again, I can't stress how important the use of soapy water is. I always have this bottle handy whenever I needed to use it for something like that. This is a tool easily affordable by everyone, so there's no excuse you shouldn't have this. The next underappreciated tool in the garage is related to something that's very much appreciated: pliers. Everyone recommends a good set of pliers in a variety of shapes: needle nose, flat nose, extended, angled, all that good stuff. But I want to call out a particular plier that I use, I'd say, as much as I use any other type of plier. Commonly referred to as dikes. That's the slang term. I like to be cool and use slang terms from time to time. Diagonal cutters, I guess, is the professional term. But any size, I use a variety of sizes for the jobs I'm doing. These are my most common go-to. These things are fantastic, guys. Whether you're cutting wires, cutting plastic, cutting zip tie ends after you've tightened a zip tie like a professional mechanic should do, you cannot overrate these. They're just fantastic. I'll use them for a ton of things. They have the clenching power to chop through a lot of heavy duty stuff. You really should have this in your tool arsenal. I mean, you even get the big nasty ones. I've chopped through thick gauge stereo wire, copper wiring, all kinds of wonderful things. And I mean, obviously you could probably take some fingers off with this too if you wanted to. It depends how dark you want to get in your garage. But honestly, a good old pair of dikes really helps you get a lot of jobs done. And you don't hear these called out a lot, but man, I use them all the time. So get a good pair of diagonal cutters, have that in your toolbox. Fantastic tool to have in your arsenal. And I think they're really underrated. You don't hear a lot of people calling them out, but I think this is a must-have tool for anyone doing their own repairs or any kind of work, really. Without question, a great socket set is an essential tool for every mechanic. But when you get into these more specialty jobs or hard to reach areas, you really need to dig deep into your arsenal. Regular sockets and even deep sockets won't get the job done. You're gonna need something specialty to get in there. Now, of course, This isn't anything crazy. This is a regular extension that you'd find pretty commonly for any socket. Wrench, straightforward here. This is a 3/8 inch one. That's the most common one you're gonna use. This is great. I even have a shorter version. Use these all the time. These are pretty common. What I'm really talking about are these specialty ones. These pivoting head ones allow you to get a variety of angles to approach those bolts that are hidden, hard to get to. A lot of time, intake manifold bolts, exhaust manifold bolts, those weird things on the back of the engine can often be hard to get a straight shot on. So you're gonna need something that's flexible, allows you to rotate the angle like so, and you want all the different sizes for the different size socket wrenches you're actually using. So these are fantastic. Everybody really needs to get a set of these. Can't even list how many times I've been stuck where I just need a slight angle. Now, obviously it gets a little tricky when you go full angle. You still have to have the rotation, but it gives you that much more of an option when dealing with a weird bolt in a weird position. Combine this with these extensions and you can work out some pretty interesting puzzles. You know, how to reach a bolt from a weird angle and you only have a certain angle of approach. You start to combine these kind of items and you can really get to anything. Another socket tool or extension to the socket tool set is these conversions, especially if you're just starting out. You won't have necessarily all the sizes you need for the particular size driver you're using. So say you have a 1/2 inch socket wrench and you're trying to use 3/8 inch version of the head, but you don't have the 1/2 inch. This takes the 1/2 inch down to a 3/8. So all of a sudden your 1/2 inch driver, whether it be your breaker bar or heavy duty ratchet, can take on your 3/8 inch, which you probably have more anyway. So this is a great tool to have too. And if you bring something like this, say you're doing something mobile or you're working, you know, some other location or a junkyard or something, you don't have to bring as many tools. You simply bring your driver, you can bring your big 1/2 inch, and then you don't have to bring all your 3/8 inch or 1/2 inch sockets. You can simply bring the 3/8 and they'll all work with this. This is a great piece to use. Use these a lot. So that's pretty much that for those items. Those are some fantastic things. A little more outside of the realm of basic, but trust me, when you start getting into more jobs, you will be using a variety of these, and whatever allows you to approach a bolt at a weird spot helps you out in the long run. The next underappreciated tool I'm going to cover is a lifesaver. It has saved me countless amounts of times. Finding something that I could not certainly reach with my hands. It's a very affordable tool, and it's something we should all have in our arsenal. It is the magnetic pickup tool. How often have you dropped a bolt, you lose sight of that bolt down in your engine bay? That is the worst case scenario. You can't reach, your arm doesn't squeeze down in there. What you need is one of these. Key is the ability for it to expand. I mean, that is priceless in itself. But there's no way for you to reach that bolt you dropped. So you get this out, expand it to the length you need, and start poking around in the dark down there. You hear that resounding click of that metal object, that bolt, attaching to the magnetic pickup tool, and you know you're good. You know you got that bolt, you secured it, and you're happy again. You can continue on your job. Otherwise, oh, I hope I have another bolt. Hopefully I didn't fall in a bad part of the engine. You always imagine somehow it falls into this opening inside your engine bay and goes into your engine internals. That's always the way my mind processes this stuff. But these are great. I mean, honestly, even sometimes you do drop something, you can see where it is, but you just can't get to it, and that tortures you. This will be the tool that you need to get it out. Again, it picks up a variety of items. The magnet's pretty strong on these. On the table here, we have a variety of things. Hopefully you're not dropping spark plugs. You might want to check your skill level if you're dropping spark plugs down in there and can't recover them. This tool definitely has the strength to pick that up. More common than not, you're dropping bolts like such. The occasional washer, good to recover those. These things can disappear anywhere. And then even your socket, your trusty 10mm socket, the socket we all lose the most. Let's be honest. Here it is. So don't lose any more 10mm sockets, guys. Get a magnetic pickup tool and use it. I mean, this thing is priceless. I always have it right next to me when I'm doing a job. It's just one of those tools you reach for. The second I drop a bolt down in an engine bay, first thing I'm looking for is a flashlight and this tool. And it helps me recover all those dropped items. Again, another tool, you know, a lot of people love them, a lot of people use them. It's a pretty common tool, but I don't think it gets the praise it deserves. This thing is a lifesaver, and I can't stress that enough. So get yourselves a magnetic pickup tool if you don't have one already. As a bonus magnetic item, I'm not going to count this as its own item, but this Craftsman, and you can get any brand you want, magnetic tray is fantastic for jobs too. Obviously, mine's collected a little too many items, but honestly, you clear this out before each job. You set it inside your engine bay or wherever you're working. Your bolts will stick to it. You won't have to worry about dropping things. Historically, I used to put a lot of parts around the interior hood area of the car or rested on any of those sills, but it's not a great habit to do. Plus, if you ever shut your hood on tools, not gonna say I've never done that, you could risk damaging, denting your hood. Just use this. Chances are you're not gonna miss this big shiny piece of aluminum stuck inside your engine bay when you go to shut your hood, and you'll know exactly where everything is. You can put everything in order and it will hold it in its spot. So just kind of a little bonus add-on to the magnetic tool. We're gonna stick with the magnetic theme for these two items, but go ahead and get yourself one of these too if you don't have one already. Basically a priceless tool, use it for every job. All right, the last item I'm gonna cover as a criminally underappreciated tool that I don't think gets called out enough as much as it should be are ramps. Now, efficiency in the garage is often related to how much time it takes to complete a job. And I'll tell you what, nothing really saves more time than ramps. We're using jacks and jack stands all the time to get our cars off the ground. You cannot beat the efficiency of a ramp system. They're light, they're easy, you just throw them in front of the wheels, drive over, just like in this case with the Mazda Speed Miata. And they're really useful whether you need to do an oil change or just peek under the car really quick. You cannot beat the efficiency of these ramps. Now, obviously, if you have to do brakes or remove the tire for any reason, these really aren't that helpful. Anything else, just looking under the car or having to get under there and do anything. Ramps are the way to go. I even have these really small race ramps. They have a very small lift to them, and these are just for getting up on my car scales. So in all my review videos, you see me weighing the cars. This is way quicker of a system. Just simply drive up on the ramp versus having to jack the car up and hopefully put all 4 tires down at the same time in the same place on the actual scales. So I wanted to call that out. I know a lot of you know about ramps. If you don't have a set of ramps, you definitely should get some. You'll be surprised how much time you save. Or anything you want to really check out, a leak or any other kind of issue under your car, you cannot beat how quick these things are to use. Get yourself a good set of ramps and you'll be good. Thanks for stopping by the Auto Obsessive Garage again. Hopefully you guys took something away from this. I thought these 5 tools were criminally underappreciated. You don't see a lot of videos about them. You don't see a lot of videos saying, hey, these are tools you need to have. I thought it'd be important to call these out. They're tools I rely on quite often. I'd probably say these are my go-to tools. So just kind of wanted to give them a little time in the bright lights, let them be shared with you guys. But yeah, I just thought I'd shoot a little video about these criminally underappreciated tools, or what I believe to be criminally underappreciated tools. And even if it inspires one person to start using it or go out and get their own, that's fantastic. But I just wanted to let you guys know these are tools I lean on heavily and use them quite often in all the jobs I do. So again, thanks for stopping by the Auto Obsessive Garage. We'll have some more content coming out shortly. We'll try to do more stuff in the garage like this. Not just working on these shady projects I'm always working on, but always trying to bring new content to the channel. So thanks for tuning in again, guys. Appreciate it. Take care and we'll see you next time.